Welcome to On the Rise. I am Evan Murray, and this is awesome. We're here to talk about all the fun facts of Chinese language music. So it sounds like you keep having to unfold the road ahead of you. Maybe you're a person set for adventure.
I hope so. That's actually a very, very poetic way of describing that. That's really cool. I appreciate that, actually. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what I do. That's what I do here on this podcast. Okay. All right. Can you teach me something in Chinese, in Mandarin?
Yeah, the thing I was telling you about. Oh, because of the pandemic.
Oh, no. That sounds so hard. Okay.
Okay, well, let's go word by word.
All right.
Because is 因为.
因为.
Yeah. 疫情 is
疫情.
pandemic.
Okay. 因为疫情.
的关系.
的关系.
Yeah, so 的 is kind of just an article.
Okay.
关系 is a cause or
okay, you're
because
now I'm forgetting all the words.
Okay. So this is like what people have been talking about. They will be like blah 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 blah. I went to the supermarket and then 因为疫情的关系 I had to wear a mask. It's like, bitch, we know. We know there's pandemic.
They keep just
that's what I'm
putting
talking.
it right, copy and paste and everything they're saying.
And everything in daily life dialogues, they'll put 因为疫情的关系 and you're like, yes, we know there is COVID.
You're gonna do this thing to my brain now, because I bet what'll happen is I'll be like walking around or in the mall and I'll just like pick this out of the air everywhere. Right?
However, I feel like the pandemic is finally ending though, or at least like how much we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
So this was true a year ago, I would say.
Right. Well, I guess there was like some kind of news that maybe the quarantine will end on October 10th.
I thought it was 13th.
Is it? Oh, did they announce it officially?
No, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I also get my news from like Reddit, so
yeah, like all these guys just fighting.
Exactly.
Like, fight. Yeah.
Let's be online trolls. Yeah.
Okay, so what about food? Like we were talking about food earlier. That food is a huge difference for you as a Canadian living in Taiwan. What is food then? Like, what is your favorite food here? What do you like to eat?
Favorite food here?
Yeah.
I fucking love 7-Eleven food here, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
It's amazing.
It's like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. Because when I was in Singapore, the one thing I was like, oh, I want to go home. I mean, I want to go back to Taiwan, because 7-Eleven closed at like 10 o'clock in Singapore.
Yeah.
And then it's closed on the weekend. And I'm like, you can't do this to me. I live in Taiwan. You know?
So this summer I went to Denmark. My partner's from Denmark. And then he also lives here. And then at some point, it was like 11. And we were like, let's watch a movie. And then we're like, oh, we have no snacks. And then he was like, yeah, no, we're going to have to deal with having no snacks and no food because nothing is open.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, because you're so used to here just like convenience
like
stores.
It'll be 5-minute walk from wherever you live.
Yeah,
like
and it could be like 4 a.m. and you're craving for something, you can definitely find food.
You can buy beer at 6 a.m. It just doesn't matter,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Also, I think Taiwan has the second biggest ratio of convenience stores to people.
It has to. There's a Family Mart and 7-Eleven literally every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And
walking.
The first one is North Korea. Shit, no. Nope, definitely not accurate.
Nope.
The first one is South Korea, and the second one, I think it has to be Taiwan, where there's like
South Korea would definitely be plastic surgery. Like
really?
Oh yeah. Like there's just you've been to Seoul, obviously, right?
No, I've been to Busan for 30 hours.
Oh, I love Busan. I love that place. But yeah, in Seoul, it's like every street corner has a plastic surgeon.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's crazy. It's weird crazy.
It's like really affordable.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go to, maybe I need to go to one, but I don't know. But it's like, I just couldn't believe that was just the case. You know, like being a Western Canadian, like every corner we have a liquor store or a donair shop, right? In Western Canada. And then
what's donair?
Donair. So in Quebec, you might call them kebab.
Oh, donair. Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah,
yes, kebab.
Gyro.
Yeah, got it. I know exactly what you're talking
about. In
about.
Europe, my friends are saying like, donair, kebab, and I'm like, no, I call it a donair, you know?
Okay.
And then they don't use a sweet sauce anywhere else, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's another story.
Sweet sauce?
Yeah, so it's like beefcake. It's like beefcake. What it is just beef that's mixed with all these different, well, it's supposed to be lamb, but it never is. And it's like beef mixed with all these different spices, ground up beef, and then they put it on this thing. Yeah. They chop it off, and then they use like cake mix, like what is it called? Condensed milk. Milk and vinegar, and you mix that up, and that's donair sauce. Yeah. That's a
What?
secret. I'm giving everyone in the world a secret. This is like the
Is this only in like your part of Canada?
No, like Halifax is, in Halifax, this is actually the city food is donair with sweet sauce. That's actually Halifax like branding food.
What? I feel like my mind is being blown right now. That's insane.
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought
not
it was like
kidding.
sour cream or something.
No, it's not. One is tzatziki.
Yeah.
That's the traditional stuff.
Yeah.
But some guy at some time mixed like sweet cake sauce, which is condensed milk with vinegar. I don't know who would think of that doing that, but it mixed it up and it became donair sauce. Yeah.
That's insane. Also, that's one of the foods I crave. When we were talking about like food that we miss back home.
Yeah.
One of the things is like being able to go to Amir or Bustan in Montreal. I don't know if you know those chains, but it's like you go there and you just get a big plate of like just kebab and
the meat and the falafel.
Yes, and the
the
garlic potatoes with mayo. Just
There's definitely Arabic food is definitely. Can I say Arabic food or I would say Middle Eastern food? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not that cultured.
I'm not that progressive yet. But I don't mean to hurt anybody. I'm sorry.
I would just say just excellent cuisine.
Yeah, excellent. The excellent cuisine from the Middle East, right? What do you think about this? So, like you've obviously looked at the Jade Music Festival site and
Yes.
you've read a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It sounds like you know what's going on there. What do you think about the elevation of Chinese language in Canada? What do you think about that?
I think you raise a super good point about that. You raise a good point. Elevation of,
I raise the elevation
Yeah.
of the...
Oh no, I think if especially based on like those stats that you just gave me, it makes even more sense. Before this, I already thought it's just a really cool thing to put a spotlight on the fact that
Before you thought it was just a nice thing to do, right?
Well, as in like I thought it was it's a nice thing to do, but it's also very reflective of how the Canadian population is.
It's everybody,
where
right? It's
everybody.
the world.
Exactly.
Like, we are the world.
Yeah,
We
Michael
are the
Jackson,
children.
yes.
Right?
No, but I think, so you are correct. Before I only thought it was nice, and now I think it's even more
Lucrative.
lucrative. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
That wasn't the word I was looking for, but I think that's even more accurate than what I was going to
I'm sorry.
Lucrative, yeah.
Just jumping up and down here. Did you know your grandparents very well?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I really hurt your Canadianness, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My grandparents, I mean, like my immediate family, both of my parents immigrated to Canada, and then like had my sister and I.
Yeah.
So my extended family is all in China, and when we were younger,
do you see them at all? Do you go visit them ever?
So when we were younger, we'd go like once every year, every 2 years.
Okay.
And then now I haven't been in China for like 6 years, I want to say.
Okay.
And I didn't really spend much time with my grandparents because some of them passed very early on.
Sure.
And then the other ones, you just really don't spend time because I don't even, like, if I go there, it's like, most of the time we're staying at my my aunt's house.
Yeah.
But then we maybe visit them like once or twice.
Well, let's talk about your dad a little bit more because I know like the way you spoke about him, he's a very special person in your life, right?
Yeah.
Where did his musicality come from? Did it come from his parents? Did it come from his culture? Like, what do you think created that in him? Because obviously it lit a spark in you, right? Like it really sounds like he ignited your spirit, through his spirit, and he handed down something to you, whether it be inspiration or technical skill or the intuition of how to do these things. But where do you think that came from in him?
I don't know, and I wish. So my dad passed away, and the
I'm
fact
sorry.
that
I'm sorry with that.
That's okay, but thank you. When people ask me, or like just this question makes me wish I could ask him because I don't know, and I feel like this comes from a background where we're so with the cultural differences. Just I think within the Asian population, like we don't really say "I love you," right? Like.
Whiny.
Yeah. Oh, good job.
Hey, see?
Like I think showing affection is not. It's very different. And then there's also the clash of my sister and I being born in Canada and how we expect to show or receive affection and like say that we love our parents. Like all of that. So
Right.
I think there were so many layers of how we communicated, and I think these are things I just out of frustration when I was younger about like being a Canadian. quote unquote Canadian girl, and then my parents being so traditionally Chinese. But to be honest, looking back, I'm like, they were so not traditional. Anyways, all this to say, these are things where it kind of put a stop into me even getting to know my parents very well. Like, I don't know so much about my dad's, I guess, youth, if you will, like, or even this, like the question that you just asked me, this, I have no idea how to answer that. Like, I wish I could go back in time and be like, Dad, how did you notice that you were an amazing singer? When did that start? You know, I don't know. Like, for me, I could say that's definitely because my dad likes singing, but like, I don't know where that sparks for him. Yeah, this got really emotional. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I kind of got a hint of that because I heard your language when you would talk about him, the was and as and stuff like that, and it's sad. Yeah, I mean, my dad wasn't musical, but like I lost him years ago too, and it's never easy, right? Like, it never gets easy, and then you're left with a lot of questions that maybe, you know, especially if he dies suddenly or however that happens or whatever that relationship is, there's things that are left.
Yeah. We
just can't unfold all of life the way we, you know, when we're in the future, if we would have had that much more time. Right?
Yeah.
So that's, well, it's all part of growing up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any special habits when you write music? Like, do you have any kind of ritual? Do you do anything, do you notice so take me through a process of a song that you wrote. Take me, like, how does that happen?
I feel like I'm such a terrible, like, I have no discipline, and that's something I really, really lack. And I really respect people that have discipline because I'm so sporadic and emotional, and everything's like gut feeling based, which I think is partially bullshit.
There's a strength to that, though, right?
Yes and no. So I was looking at Diane Warren went on Oprah a couple years ago, and it really hit me when she was like, Oprah asked her like, "Oh, how do you write these hit songs?" and blah blah blah, and she was like, "Oh, it's because I just wake up every day and I pretend like this is an office job, 9 to 5, and I just write." Even if it's shit.
I've heard people talk about Eminem that way too. Like, he did a collaboration with some other big rapper, and he said, like, this guy's all business. He shows up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then he's there till 7, and he doesn't care what's going on. He leaves. Like, that's it. Now it's family time. Do you think it should? You'd like to see that for yourself?
I think there's a balance in between, right?
Sure.
Like, I'm completely, as of like, I would say even today, like, it's really like, if I'm feeling something really intensely, or if I'm feeling like I hear something and I'm like, oh, this inspires me, and then I try and go write about it. But like, I don't really have a ritual. I don't really have a template or a time frame on how I can work this out. Like, you know, there's also that saying of like,
so things just happen to you.
Exactly.
And then you get inspired.
Exactly. But I wish there was more structure to it, because I think there's a beauty in having structure to it, in the sense where it's more productive, it's less stressful.
Well, what if you created yourself a workstation then?
I do, and I don't use it.
But when you get that feeling, are you the one putting pencil to paper? Are you composing music and writing lyrics? Or are you working with a team? Like, how does that work?
I pen myself, and
okay.
I have, and
then you present it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, funny thing is, like, although I have that workstation that I made, like, I'm never there. Like, I would rather write on the floor than to like sit at the desk and like turn on my computer, open Ableton, and be like, oh, let's write. Like, I'll be like, not there. I'll bring my laptop somewhere else. Like, it's super not useful.
Ambiguous.
Yeah, so I guess my ritual is my lack of ritual.
Sophie, the ambiguity.
I don't want that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's got to be working for you a little, you know, in some sort of way, because I mean, what do you have any plans for a release? Do you have any plans for? Are you doing like singles right now? And like, what's going on right
our label. I'm signed to this label called SKR Music.
Okay.
桃山音乐, and what we do is right now we're just releasing singles. Like, if we write a song, we just release it, and like, it's just being able to continuously release songs and content without being it too saturated or forced. So if you're feeling something, then we release it. And as of right now, like, I don't really see a point of releasing an album. I feel like there's an art form to the album, for sure. I haven't really lived a big chunk of my life where I'm like, oh, I want this to be shown or presented as an album or packaged as an album.
Sure.
Like,
well, things are different now, right? And I think that maybe the thing is, if you feel more spirited or you feel that works for you, I think it can work, obviously, because I mean, let's face it too. I mean, like, how many people are like finding an artist and listening to their album anymore? You know what I mean? Because even like, let's just be honest, right? When we were 15 years old, 20 years old, whatever. Well, maybe you're still 20. I don't know, but I'm not. I'm really old. And when we had so much garbage to sift through. Like, you buy an album and you buy it because you heard one song.
Yeah.
But it's like there might be like another good song, and there might be like one that's like pretty good, but then you have like 10 tracks like you don't even care about.
Yeah.
You know?
But also, I think back in the days, like, I would actually be able to sing every single song, and now I realize I can't remember any lyrics because you listen to so much stuff. Right?
Yeah. Well, see, that's another problem, is that right there. Let's just talk about that for a second. It's the so, like, you know, like I was talking before we started this about, you know, idolization, right? So like, we don't have idols the same anymore.
Yeah.
Where like everyone's
not
like
mega stars anymore.
right? Like, all the rock stars are dying. It's like, no, it's just no one's replacing them, right?
Yes.
Because that whole branch of system, that whole marketplace is dissolved into many
Smaller ones, yeah.
And then if you're someone who's streaming all the time, right, just checking out the world all the time, like, it's almost like I don't know how meaningful music is. Music becomes like the soundtrack to people's activities. You know what I mean? There's other things in life that have changed too, like dating and music. Like, it's so different. It's just becoming like activities. It's like soundtracks and activities. You know what I mean? Like, it's we live in a very different world than we grew up in. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember having to not get a call because I wanted to go online. Like, dial-up internet was a thing. It's crazy to think about it now. Yeah.
So let's tell Canadians, or whoever can understand our English right now. Can we tell them about a Chinese language artist or a song, or
Yeah,
even
me.
one of
Me,
right
Guys,
here, right
guys.
now?
So if you understand English and you're like, wow, today's the day I'm gonna go listen to a Chinese speaking artist, listen to me, man.
All right, point us somewhere. Where can we go? What do you want us to listen to?
Honestly, I don't really care as long as you listen to me. That's all.
How do
that
we
matters.
find you? We just type in
Sophie Chen. So Chen is Chen. Sophie is Sophie, not Fie.
Okay.
As I've realized some people spell it that way for some reason.
maybe in like Alaska.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, no, my music is, it's on Spotify, on iTunes, any streaming platform really, on YouTube, and I do a lot of like funny sketches, I guess, on like my TikTok and Instagram, so you guys can look up Sophie Chen as well there. I'm right now currently just enjoying living life, so I'm not really posting much recently, and I've had like people be like, are you okay? And it's like, well, I'm not okay in the sense where like I can't be on social media right now because it gets you so anxious, right?
Yeah.
But like I have like moments where I'm like, I feel so creative and I want to write about like, like me getting a lot of likes on this picture because like my tits were more visible, and I'm gonna bash on that. And then so that was actually like
no
that,
comment.
Yeah, but that gave me so many followers, and I was like, wow, okay, great. I can also like gain followers by being funny. And then I was like, wait, but they're not gonna listen to my actual very emotional music, and that got me into like a big identity crisis.
Did it really? Well, obviously, because then you're trying to figure out like, who am I to these people?
Yeah, well, because I do post a lot of shit. Like I like to banter. I like to create sketches, and so I had like last year, maybe 2 years ago, I started this like series of like Disney princess stuck in pandemic, and like that got a lot of attention, and I was like, great, but no one's gonna go listen to my actual music,
Right.
So I go through moments like this where I'm like, but I'm also very creative and I love improv and blah 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 blah, but then also please listen to my real music.
What's really interesting is like you're kind of reminding me of this show. It's called American Gods. And,
I've never seen it, but
but the reason why is because like you have all these different gods, right?
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
have like the old gods, and now you have the new gods.
Yeah.
And what this show is actually about is like they're using gods as this like hyper metaphor to what
Technology.
Well, yeah, there's like technology god,
Yeah.
and then there's like marketing god. That's the new gods.
Okay.
But these gods gain their power from what people pay attention to.
Yes.
So like Odin is trying to get people to pay attention to him, and there's like 500 different Jesuses. It's so funny because you have so many different types of.
It's Neil
Christianity.
Gaiman, right?
I don't know, but I just know what you're talking about, like where you have traveled through, like when you're having this personal thing, and you're shining this light on an aspect of yourself, and then you're wondering, and then you're like, oh, but what about this and what about that? That's the ideology, right? So the thing is, like, when you behave in this way, like you're this type of God who's shining the scene, then people are like worshiping that and they're doing this. And then you're saying, but what about this aspect of me? You know? And then how do I get the people over here? So that's very interesting, because that's the basis of that whole entire show. Is how to get people to pay attention to these gods, right? And I guess in a person's personality, there's all these characteristics, right? Right. So you have this part of yourself, you have this part of yourself, this part of yourself. What part of yourself is working the best for you?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I think I'm
can you be all of them?
But at the same time, I don't know.
No, well, right. That's what a personality is, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing people notice is definitely that I'm very extreme, in the sense where, like, I'm very emotional. So I do have, like, I have, like, very serious posts, like, on my social media too, where I'm like, I'm not okay right now, and I read this whole novel. And then there are times where I, like, put out these skits. So it, like, I don't know how to find a right balance, because I think I definitely do feel that thing where when I shine more on this, then you have, like, more attention to that, and you think that your entire personality should be.
But maybe that's why people like you, is because maybe this is something, like, when we talk about branding, like, someone will, especially old school branding, it was like one thing, but maybe people attach to the personality as well. Maybe they're going to attach to your personality. Maybe if you're showing
I hope so.
All these different all these different gods amongst you, you know, all these different gods inside of you, maybe they'll see one person. Maybe that's the end of the story.
Yeah, I think the lesson, though, or the homework for me, is how do I reconcile all of that,
right,
and be okay? Because I do feel like sometimes I live between the extremes, and I don't know how to bridge the difference, you know?
Right.
Like, it's either like...
But that's going to give you your edge too, right? I mean, maybe that gives you your creative component, because, I mean, creativity is chaos. You can't have, like, you can't take chaos out and then have creativity. And if you do, then it's just like basically people just putting math together of what they think is going to sell, right? So the thing is, if you still have that chaos in you, like that, I think that's still something very beautiful. That's still something very organic. That's still something meaningful. Right? And I think what I think is
my personal opinion.
in my opinion, because I got the goddamn microphone. No, is I just think meaning is more important than anything else, especially in the arts. You know?
Yeah, I definitely do feel that the songs that I attach myself the most to, or that I'm the most proud of, are either from, you know, like my first adventure in Taiwan, where like everything flopped and like I got frozen out of my contract, and then I went home, like tail between my legs a little bit. My dad passed away, or like recently where I just like, I kind of blew up a little bit, and then I felt like I lost everything at the same time. I felt so empty. And I think like these big moments are, like you said, like where everything is chaos and you have no solid ground. It also is when I can write the most vulnerable thing. And it's usually when I write, I don't think I'm actively trying to please the market and whatnot, but there is definitely a certain component of you're like, I really definitely want this to be catchy, right? Like you still kind of like tailor the entire song to subconsciously to something. And I think when everything becomes straight up chaos, that's when all expectations are thrown out the window and you just kind of like start writing. And
there's a saying. It says sometimes you can fall so long that you feel like you're flying. Okay, you can fall for so long that you feel like you're flying, and it's you forget which one it is, right? So the thing I think
that got me really emotional.
I think there's salvation. I think there's salvation in music. I think that maybe that's part of your journey. It sounds like that, right? Because you're an emotional character, is that you also play a meaningful role, and I think that's part of your journey. You know, so I'm excited to watch you continue that.
Thank you.
And maybe we can go somewhere positive. We can get a little bit more uplifting. Tell me what is?
We are flying after all. Let's elevate this.
What is the most awesome thing that has ever happened to you? What is the most awesome thing that ever happened to you?
Oh, do we want one particular moment? Can I just say honestly, the fact that I can do this as a job.
Yeah,
like with the fact that, you know, like doing this whole cliche pop star thing is so unrealistic, and yet I am here living this. Although, you know, like I'm broke as fuck and all that stuff, but still, like the fact that I can actually do this is insane. I'm, to be honest, very grateful. There are moments where I'm so tired and I'm like, shit, maybe I should have just gone into like medicine school or whatever, or law school or something. But the fact, I think it's so awesome that I get to actually do music.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But
is that
don't forget that. No, it's not cliche. That's just something that came out of the grain, right? So that just sprout and now it's growing. But I think you got to hold on to that too. Like you got to hold on to that when you get down or when you feel flustered or like, oh no, it's chaotic, whatever. Like, don't forget that. You know, like how awesome it is to wake up and be able to say like, yeah, something might happen today. I might have my next hit song, or I might make my next viral post or whatever. There's just that hope of always something perpetual there, right? So I think that's completely awesome for sure.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Do you know any good jokes?
I did. Oh, so I did actually prepare the one joke.
Did you really?
I did.
I feel so special now.
So there's my favorite joke. I can't actually do it. It doesn't work on a podcast. Like it's a very physical joke. So I'm gonna tell you my next. I think it's hilarious just because it's okay. Full disclosure, my catalog of jokes is very, very, very limited.
All right.
So here we go. This is a joke I prepared for you. Okay, you ready?
I think I am. Hold on a sec. Give me a second.
Deep breath.
All right. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. What is round on both sides and high in the middle? Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, but you laugh.
I feel more like we're on a I was gonna say a video game, but not a video. What's that called? Those games they had on TV back when we were small. Game show. Yeah. And by the way, I thought my dad invented that joke, but you just.
I read it. Okay, so here's the thing. I read this joke in a book for like children, like a joke book, and I was like, this is clearly not for children because what is a child gonna think? Like the adult telling or reading this joke to the kid is probably definitely in their head like, haha, penis.
We drove across Canada one time. I remember I was just a kid, and we to go to Montreal from the west or vice versa, you can go through the States, right? It's one of the routes. And I remember we were driving through Ohio and I didn't know it, and my dad was like, oh yeah, what's round on both ends and high in the middle? And I was like, God, that's so stupid. And he was like, oh, I made that joke. And I was like, so I thought he really, because I was a stupid kid, but I thought he made that joke.
It's okay. You came up with the Big Mac Index.
Yeah.
So, it's really okay. You got salvation.
I come from a family of inventors.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I have a second. So from the same joke book. Why is hot faster than cold?
Oh my God, physics. Why is hot faster than cold? It's funny. Is it funny? I don't know. I don't know.
It's the fact that you said physics. So the answer is because you can catch a cold. Oh. So this has nothing to do with physics.
Oh my God! Yeah. Okay, you can catch a cold. Okay. All right. Well, it was a.
Yes, she's laughing. I'm so happy.
Well, we'll all just keep trying to laugh. We'll just keep trying to laugh more. It was really nice to talk to you. That was a very good conversation, and there was a lot of. I think I'll listen back to this fondly. So thanks so much.
I really here. Thank you so much for having me. There were some moments really where I was just like, oh, this is. It's the conversation I didn't know I needed today. It was very, very, very nice.
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate that you invited me here.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to the team and everybody. Stay awesome.